Meanwhile, European countries are ramping up their anti-terrorism efforts, boosting security and moving aggressively to root out suspected terrorists. Let's bring in Captain Bob Wells now. He's a retired member of the U.S. Navy and former national security advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney. Captain Wells, thank you for being here. First of all, how did we end up in such a conundrum?
Well, thank you, Arthel. I think we ended up in this because the Islamic extremist elements continue to look at what their end state would like to be. We've been at it now for over 20 years with regard to a global jihad. It started back in 1994. I also look with interest at the Pope right now in the Philippines. 20 years ago, Pope John Paul was there in Manila, and you had Ramzi Youssef there plotting to kill Pope John Paul. So they've been with it. We're back there again because we've got more unrest and turmoil with regard to Syria and also Iraq. And we have these homegrown terrorists and also this foreign fighter element now that is informed by this expanding internet and social media. So people need to have a reason for being, and I think we're here because they want us to be there.
And where do we go from here?
We really need to plan. I think the administration really needs to channel President Eisenhower or General Eisenhower. I think we need to look forward and make sure we plan what does 2017 really look like. President Bush, after 9/11, established the Department of Homeland Security, looked at the capability and the capacity we needed, looked at the policies we needed, looked at the information exchange policies we needed. I think this period of time where we've got so much turmoil inside Syria and Iraq, where you've got these homegrown challenges and also the foreign fighters returning with this social media is a totally different brew. And we need to have the capability and the capacity in the United States. We also need to provide additional capability and capacity to support our allies in Europe right now. It's a wake-up call, obviously, in Paris, and looking at today's events and this last week's events in Brussels and in Belgium and in Greece and in Yemen. This is time for the United States to continue to do what we're doing, but also plan for the future and making sure we have the capability and capacity right.
And, you know, you mentioned the social media aspect of it and how these extremist, radical Islamist groups are using social media quite effectively for propaganda. You know, I don't think I asked this without lots of Americans on board with me saying, why is it that we can't stop their access to social media? Why can't we just shut their systems down? Is that even possible?
It's possible, but there's a lot of legalities here. Even in the Bush administration, we had some challenges with regard to the intelligence requirements on looking at, under the Patriot Act, what was happening inside the United States and how they communicated to different cells outside the United States. At that particular time, it was al-Qaeda focused, al-Qaeda affiliated network focused, but inside the United States, you have legal protections with regard to access to these particular information networks. You still have Patriot Act procedures and processes in place. You need to have probable cause, and there still is a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah, so I mean, I know,
it's a delicate balance, Arthel.
Pardon me for cutting you off. Delicate dance, I really understand, but I mean, you know, look, it's a new day. And quite frankly, they're not listening to me and my phone calls, or they don't want my information. They have to get the information of these people who are out to kill us.
That's a critical point. In fact, we have to deal with the reality, not as we wish it. America is a great country. We're very idealistic. We have the rule of law. We have our principles enshrined in our Constitution. But we also have the duty to make sure that we protect our people. And we need to go the extra mile. We have the organizations set up after 9/11. There's a new threat now with this homegrown as well as the foreign fighter response. You have disintegration of the nation states in Syria and Iraq. You still have the Arab Maghreb. You have Boko Haram. You have Niger. You know, political Islam is a lot of garden varieties of it, and certainly all it takes is one or two leaders within these particular nodes to threaten the United States and also have support from people here in the United States. So I just think better planning, looking ahead to 2017, supporting our allies, getting it right, that's where we need to be.
And getting together, having one accord on what it is that plan should be and what it should look like. That's what I think. Okay. Captain Wells, I have to go, and I appreciate your time. I look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arthel. Good evening.
Of course. Good evening.